Last week, we talked about how to prep for your next gun paint job. Now, let's talk about what tools you might need. Coming up tonight on the Builders Tribe Tuesday Fireside Chat. Hello. What is going on here? Man, I got all kinds of stuff going bonkers here. Trying out a new things, guys. I'm excited. I'm here. Hello, everyone. Thanks for coming. We are trying something new tonight. We're trying to broadcast here. We're broadcasting on Gentleman Designs, and we're also broadcasting on the Builders Tribe page. And I'm trying to see if it's broadcasting. I'm not sure if it's broadcasting or not, and it looks like it is not. So that is definitely user error. So, interesting. Anyway, the show must go on. It froze up a little bit. Maybe that's all the technology trying to work at once, but we are going to keep going. I'm not going to worry about it. We'll figure it out later on the other end. So that's because Mr. Nas Veritas is not here helping me tonight. He's busy with family and work and everything else. He might even be knocked out at this point, but whatever I did wrong, I'm sure he will fix next week. So without further ado, let's get on with the show. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining us. As usual, if you're here on a Tuesday night, we definitely appreciate it because you could be doing anything other than this, but you decided to join us anyway, and we really, really, really appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, here we talk about everything related to guns. We kind of lean towards polymer 80s or, privately made firearms, but we talk about all things guns. 80%, 100%, manufacturers, whatever it is, and whatever it is you want to talk about, we can talk about. So it says we have trouble. Okay, well, remove it. Let's see. Edit. No, I don't want to do that. All right, cool. Give me a second, guys. I'm getting warning labels saying they're having trouble. Let's go ahead and just remove that, and we'll deal with it again next week. All right. So, like I was saying, we talk about everything related to guns, 80%, 100%, everything, all the above. So, if you have any questions, please preface your questions with 4 question marks. If it's for us here on the screen, preface it with 4 question marks, and we will definitely pull it out and get started. So, we'll answer your questions as fast as possible. And if we don't get to answer your questions for some strange reason, we do our best to answer everything. But you can go over to thebuilderstribe.org and join over there. It's free to join. All of the members that'll be here, the usual suspects in the tribal council in the chat, will be over there to answer your questions if you have any, or if you're watching this on replay, we'll be happy to answer your questions in comments. So don't be afraid to leave your comment. Myself and Weapon X definitely be paying attention to the comments so we can answer them as fast as possible. But again, if you have questions for us, if you have questions for the tribal council in the chat, go ahead and just post your question. But if it's for us on the screen, put 4 question marks so we can definitely see it. So if you haven't noticed, if you are in the chat on Builders Tribe, if you're in the chat on Builders Tribe, what's up, Mr. Hernandez? I see you over there on Gentleman Designs. As I said, we are broadcasting on all channels tonight. I see Worst Case Scenario over there. I see oh, I'm signed in over there too. I'm wondering why some of those are not popping up in this comment. And let's see. Okay, I see it. It's popped up. All right. Anyway, guys, I'm flying by the seat of my pants here because, like I said, I have new things going on tonight. We're trying out a few new things. If you haven't noticed on the screen, we got a couple of new backgrounds and we got some new banners going on. So we're trying a few new things. I got 3 minutes to finish the introductions here. As you see, I'm putting myself on a time limit because we have a lot of information to share tonight, and we do not want to go to 11:30 like we did last week. one announcement I guess I have is that we crossed the milestone of 100 subscribers on the Builders Tribe channel. And that is definitely no small feat, especially since we just started this particular channel in February. So between February and April, we've crossed the 100 subscriber mark, and that's absolutely outstanding. We definitely see that people are watching the live streams on replay. We definitely appreciate you. We thank you for watching. But we got a lot of work to do because we have a lot of freedom protectors out there. We have a lot of builders that might not know that we exist. So if you can just share this, if you know that you're going to join the broadcast, or if you're not, if you get the link to the broadcast, share it on your channel, share it in your social media. And that way we can get more people to join us either live or on replay or in the forum. So definitely join us over on the forum. We definitely have a lot of fun over there. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce my co-host, my dude, my man, Mr. Weapon XYZ. Weapon, where are you? Where are you, Weapon? There you are.
Well, hello, people.
What's going on, man?
What up, man?
Oh, man, look.
I like this new layout, dude. It's kind of dope.
I appreciate it, man. I've been working on different things all day with it, and trying to see. Check that out.
Yeah, that's nice. I like that.
And that has all to do with my dude right here, Mr. Hawkeye. What's going on, Hawkeye? Dude,
same old stuff.
Dude, that logo is just insane, dude. I couldn't go without putting it up here on the new layout, dude.
That looks pretty good. I like that.
So, yep. There you go. What? There you go. Weapon got his t-shirt on. Yeah. So, guys, tonight we're going to be talking about Paint Prep 102. Last week we talked a little bit about the tools. Last week we talked more so about what are you going to do to prep to get to what you want to do. And guys, if you are on Builders Tribe, look at the top. There is a poll there. And the question is, what paint options are you contemplating? Are you contemplating gun coat, Cerakote, right dye, or rattle can? And right now we're looking at 29% gun coat, 43% Cerakote, 14% between rattle can. Rattle can and right dye more. So it's definitely I don't know how to. I'm trying to figure out how to post it. We just got 50% at Cerakote. Cool. Yeah, guys, keep adding into there. What are you doing, dude?
I may have clicked the button.
Oh, that was you.
That was me.
As you see, I'm trying out some new things, trying to make it a little more interactive. And if you guys have any questions that you want to post from week to week, you want to put up on a poll or question and answer, we're going to be trying out some of the new features that YouTube has. Right now, I'm seeing 10 viewers.
Right
outstanding. All right, dude.
Mr. Weapon, grab my charger.
All right, Mr. Hawkeye, how's it been going for you? I know you said you were tired today. You were working on your boat. Yeah. What's going on with your boat, man?
I'm getting ready to sell it. Anybody need a good boat? It's almost brand new. So
if I didn't just buy an RV camper, I probably would take you.
Gotta have some of this, though. It's a nice one.
Well, that's one I'm really lacking on right now. Some of that. But that's going to change here.
Started working on another build, or remodel.
Mm-hmm.
Another 22. The one I shoot most, it's a 26 with a Advantage Arms 22 conversion kit on it.
Okay.
The thing is awesome, man. I carry it around the garden and out in the backyard a lot, and it just, but it needs a little update. It don't need it's got a rattle can spray paint on it with a ghost, and I need to take that off. And since my skills have improved, I need to take it up several notches. So that's what I'll be doing on that one. And I'll be posting that when I get started with enough pictures to actually start a write-up on how I take this and do the makeover on it, because I want to try some stuff new on it with maybe some inlay with with some pearl inlay and the grip, maybe.
Yeah. I knew you were working on that.
Yeah, I got some ideas, but that's what I'll do this summer.
Cool. Well, yeah. And Weapon and I have been trying to finish this build up for me.
Yeah, it's looking good.
Yeah,
it's coming along very nice.
Thanks to you two guys. These two guys, man, they are definitely masters at what they do. I sent out the barrel and the slide to them. I sent the barrel to Hawkeye and sent the slide to Weapon X. So Hawkeye did some work with the barrel, sent it to Weapon X, and Weapon X is finishing up all the work before it comes back to me. And in the meantime, I need to finish the frame before it gets back. And Mr. Weapon XYZ is not playing no games. He is getting this thing done quickly. So I definitely need to get to stippling this frame.
Chipping away at it whenever I can, man. It'd be funny. Wife will look over and I'm just polishing something. She's like, "What are you doing?" I'm just working at it. I'll go do something after this,
Yeah, I try to spend an hour to 3 hours an evening when I'm working on one night, and while it's fresh in my head.
Mm-hmm.
So my wife knows after supper I'm gone for 2 or 3 hours, but you need to work on them while you got the ideas in your head, so you don't forget, especially when you get as old as I am.
Hey, well, look, man, I've been looking at that frame for a minute going, okay, I know what I need to do. I'm trying out some new stuff, guys. So don't bear with me. I'm trying out a bunch of new things on this one build, which is probably a little aggressive for one build. Trying out a bunch of new things. Got some polymer clay going on. I got some new paint. I got some new chemicals going on. Got some of everything going on. But Mr. Hawkeye and Mr. Weapon XYZ are freaking putting their stamp on this thing, and it's just amazing. So anyway, that should be coming up here in the next month at least, guys. You think within the next month?
As soon as I had to put the barrel on hold a little bit till I get some other stencils, which are in the mail on their way to me anyway. So, but
okay.
Once I get those, I'll start chipping away at it again.
All right. Well, that leads us into tonight, guys. We're going to be talking about paint prep 102. What to buy before you spray, because there's a lot of things going on. But before we get into that, Weapon XYZ, who we got in the chat tonight, man? We got a lot of people here in the chat. Who we got,
let me just go back
tonight?
through and see if I missed anybody new yet. Oh yeah, I missed a few here. Hold up. All right. There we go. All right, we got Darth Dav in the house.
What up, Darth Dav? What up, man?
Mr. Vino says good evening, everyone. We got Bob Masavo in the house. Hey, what up, Bob?
Bobby, and our wordsmith extraordinaire.
Yeah. Worst case scenario. Welcome.
What's up, man? That's a new name. Thank you for coming, man.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Mr. Mayan. What's going on, dude? Sup? Mr. Bernie. I tell you what, man, loving these guys being here.
Worst case scenario, sending good vibes.
Yes, sir. Thanks for sending them. Appreciate it.
We got a good tribe.
Blade in the house, fashionably late as usual. Hey man, we're just happy you're here, brother. Mr. Mayan says, clap. Congratulations on the 100 people.
Yeah.
And why are we missing? Okay.
It was the Go channel.
Yeah.
Our dad says more people in the fold. Yeah, exactly.
Yes, sir. I see Ancient Order's not here. His girlfriend must have came back. Dude, we had him for 2 weeks. The girl must have came back. She must have came back. Anyway, guys, man, I tell you what. There we go. That's the layout I was looking for. All right, so prep 102. And I have not. You know what? I did not. I thought I did add mine. Okay. Where is All right, hold on, guys. Let me upload it, didn't add it in. Okay, so tools. What do we want to start with, man? Do we want to start from the beginning and work our way to the end as far as paint? Because my thought process is, the before you can even get to paint, there's a lot of prep work that has to be done. Namely, sanding for one,
Or sandblasting.
or sandblasting, or both.
Right.
Because the whole sanding situation, and Hawkeye, he hit me up to this one, the micro power sander. I was using it today,
Yeah.
Hawkeye,
Yeah.
and
Racer 80 or 88 or 66, whatever. He turned me on to that. That has saved number of hours of sanding. You just can't imagine how useful that tool is for working on these frames. It's amazing.
well, now the one thing, the sandpaper that comes with it, like I said today,
You need a lot of it.
yeah, that stuff breaks down really, really fast.
What it does is it loads up, and seeing how it's a sticky sandpaper, you stick it on and use it. You can't really wet sand it with like kerosene or any, or mineral spirits or something like that, because it dissolves the sticky stuff and they just fall off. So mostly I dry sand with those, and I just get a lot of sandpaper.
Yeah, and I was dry sanding with it, and before I could even really get any of the polymer to really, really move, it just was breaking down. I'm looking at the front of it going,
Well,
man, the sandpaper's gone.
What step are you using this? Well, let me put it this way: if I have a pistol that has paint on it, I'll get that paint off, and I may use like one of those drum sanders or a real coarse 3M wheel, and get that off. Then I'll hit it with some sandpaper by hand a little bit, or I'll use those. I like using those Cera coat, or what do they call them? They're not Cera. They're like a ceramic wheel, and they have the rubber with ceramic dust embedded in them, and they have different grits. And I'll take an 80 grit, one of those, and I'll go over everything. Then after that smooths everything out. Then I can use those micro sanders with the 180 or 120, I think it is, before I go to 400. The 400, it loads up so fast you can't hardly use it, but at the very, very end of your sanding.
Well, I'm right now, the particular frame that I was working on today was is for an inlay. All right. And I have certain parts of the inlay that need to be sanded kind of flat. So I was kind of trying to flatten that out. It's no paint on it or anything. It's just straight polymer. And it was moving some of it, but not a lot. But it has its place. And like I said, guys, this is definitely one of the tools you definitely want to work with.
Now, for getting into places like that in tight corners, I just use regular sandpaper cut up into small pieces, and I'll either make a stick that I can wrap that around and get in that corner, or I think I posted somewhere where they had these little rubber sandpaper blocks.
Yeah, the little tiny ones, the little holders.
Yeah, they're about 3 inches wide, and they're too big for that. And I cut them down to about an inch wide. That way I can get into detail places and corners. But it's the same principle. You cut your sandpaper of whatever grit you want to start with, and you can wrap it up tight, and you can actually wet sand with that. Those things. Here's the thing about it. The difference between using a rubber holder and a stick roller. A rubber will actually mold itself when you put pressure on it to your corner or your little edge or whatever you're doing, to where if you have a stick, it holds its shape, so it'll actually get in the corner deeper than a piece of rubber. It just picture it like your finger, and your finger's going across the same place. Well, your finger's soft. Anything that's soft like that is going to mold itself to whatever your surface is. So you want to be able to control your sandpaper to stay flat. So if you have a bunch of waves and something, you want to sand it smooth. That way you can keep going across and you actually sand it smooth. If you use your finger all the time or something soft, it'll just make that same shape all the time, and you really won't get anywhere.
Yep. Or it'll round your corners if you have a sharp corner that you're trying to get into. Like if you've got a recessed area or something and you're trying to get into the corners of the recess, you could end up rounding the corners around the recess.
Yeah, that's right.
Another good thing if you can't find like a nice little wooden stick is if you got one of those old plastic rulers, not the super hard plastic ones, but it's a little more of a softer plastic. Those work great too. You can just cut it into little pieces and wrap your sandpaper around a corner. You can get those sharp like a knife,
Yeah, and the plastic works better. If any of you guys that are
less likely to scratch your metal.
Yeah, tool makers out there know what I'm talking about when I talk about a scale. I have a 6-inch scale. It's about a ½ inch wide, but it's metal. Now, I'll use that sometimes, but you got to be careful with that because if your sandpaper gets off of that, you'll put a scratch in there and you got to polish that out.
Or if you wear a hole in the sandpaper.
Yeah. It's just
we could almost have a show on just sandpaper.
Art sanding, because it's an art. It really is an art. You have to be able to look at your scratch that you're making with your sandpaper and be able to determine, is it a fine scratch? Is it a hard scratch? Is it getting down to where I want to remove stock? These are things you got to pay attention to. And if it's not working out, you need to back up, come up with another way to get down in there. But
so
it's an art. The art of the scratch is what I call it.
Yeah, me and Hawkeye were actually talking about this the other night. I'm working on something for RAM, which does require some polishing. So I actually found
just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit. I actually found a sheet of that I had of a polishing cotton. Essentially, imagine like your sandpaper block or your power sander. The big strips of sandpaper. This is a big strip, but it's a big strip of cotton, like fiber weave made for polishing. So you take your table, you sand it down, you get all the way up to your 3000 grit, then you would switch over to this and use that for the rest of it. But if you cut little tiny pieces of it, it's got double-sided, or it's got sticky tape on one side. You can pretty much attach it to anything. So I actually took it and I've got probably the size of like a hole punch on the end of X-Acto knife, and that's how I'm getting into some of these tight corners with a little bit of some of the compounds that Hawkeye here sent me. I'll stick the compound in. I'll take my little polishing thing. I'll go in, and then I'll switch over to a microfiber to do my finer polishing. But use what you got. Use what you got.
So, just to move along a little bit, guys. Like I said, we could talk about that part of prepping and sanding and polishing and everything for a minute. You had mentioned earlier about the sandblasting also being a tool that can be used and should be used when painting, especially when doing Cerakote and gun coat. Rattle can,
sanding,
it is what it is, but
the sandblaster comes in real handy if the paint you're using is a flat black a flat color, and because it's flat, it's not going to show a shiny pistol is what I'm saying. It's not going to give you a real slick finish if you put flat paint on it. So that's why you would want to use a sandblaster. A sandblaster will actually put a texture, and depending on the kind of texture you want, it determines what kind of grit you put in your sandblaster. But a more more glossy finish on your pistol, you're going to want to actually polish the finish and not sandblast it. That's the difference. That's the way I look at it anyway, the way I do my guns.
Ready? So now, what I see you have a what do you call it? A slide deck up there. Did you have something you wanted to offer on your slide deck before we move on to the next?
No, I was just going to show paint booths and workstations and.
Okay, yeah, we'll get to that in a second, hopefully. But also, guys, just to touch on, and we touched on it last week, gloves, because we're going to have to use chemicals. You're going to need some degreaser and some acetone and some a few different things. So you definitely want to have your gloves. Protect your hands, guys, because this stuff is very, very corrosive.
Get your PPE, guys. Get your PPE together.
PPE, your mask, and I forgot to take a picture of my mask again, but definitely have a mask. Guys, I used a little bit of Goo Gone today to get some adhesive off a piece that I'm insetting into a grip. And I kid you not, just opening the can, it wafted up into my face and I got a little dizzy from a little can of Goo Gone. So these chemicals are no joke, guys. So definitely get your PPE, get your mask, your gloves, your glasses, and don't think that it can't happen to you. Don't think the chemicals can't splash up into your face, because they will.
You'll know you're messed up when you burn your nose hairs out.
Yep. Your nose, your eyes, your eyebrows, your eyelashes. You don't want that to happen, guys. So, but real quick, before we go any further, guys, if you like that logo that's in the middle there, we have a channel. I'm sorry, not a channel, but a Teespring page where you can get different swag. You saw Weapon XYZ with his shirt. Show the shirt again, Mr. XYZ.
Oh, here, hold up. I do better than that. Hold up. I'm just gonna leave my cam up and walk away. I'll be back.
Anyway, guys, the Teespring, and I'm gonna put it in the chat right now as well. You can go over to Teespring and get any of the swag. We got hats over there. We got T-shirts. We got sweatshirts. Got coffee mugs. What else is over there, man? There's a few different things. I got a bunch
of coffee mugs, and they're great. They are great mugs.
There's Mr. Man with his hat. Mr. Hawkeye sent us some patches that we ironed on ourselves, and he's got one on a hat. He's got the shirt. But that logo there was designed by Mr. Hawkeye himself, and it is definitely selling like hotcakes. So go over there and get your swag if you want your swag. So anyway, back to tools. Tape. Tape is huge. You definitely want to tape up your whatever you don't want painted, you want to tape it up. And I've actually tried this new thing. If you look on the left there, the drawing gum, it's primarily used on canvases or things of doing watercolor, but I figured I'd give it a shot and see if it worked with Cerakote. It had varying results. Varying results, because what happens is it will peel off. If you don't cure it, it will peel off immediately. But if you over cure it, like let's just say, because the typical time to flash cure with Cerakote is 15 minutes at a lower temperature. I think it's 200 degrees versus 300. But if you cure it for the 13 minutes, that stuff is not coming off without some help. As a matter of fact, when I did Liberator, I needed to hit the Dremel with a rubber bit to get it off. Now it came off. I think you guys have seen Liberator, and if you haven't seen Liberator, go check out the video that I did for Liberator. There's another one coming, but I did a short one for the reels. But if you haven't seen that, go see it. But the Eagle on Liberator, I used some of that drawing gum on it, and I had to use the rubber wheel to get it off. Not the rubber wheel, but the rubber tip to get it off. But with this new project, I started flash curing on metal, because I haven't done it on the polymer yet, but on the slide, I used it. because there's some real small spots that I couldn't get tape, and you'll see it when it's done. So you had to use that, and I cured it at 5 minutes, and it came right off with no problem. So we're trying out different things. I'm gonna try some on the new frame. I think it's going to be a good thing going forward to get in those small spots where tape can't get. So, Hawkeye?
Yeah, it works good. I need to try it out.
Of course, we talked about hooks and different things for holding.
Yeah, you can also get some 12 gauge wire or 10 gauge wire and strip it out and make your hooks. They work real well too, and they're easy to bend.
Yep. There's Mr. Weapon XYZ and his mask.
Yeah, I got one just like
get your bead.
Yep. Yeah, that was 70.
Wear that mask for stippling, and I'll use it in etching, and I use it in painting. It's a must-have in the shop. It really is.
Depending on what type of metal I'm etching, it's needed. If you're doing aluminum and a lot of aluminum, it's almost a fucking required. If you're doing steel, I could care less. Steel doesn't really have much of an effect on vapors.
When I do steel, I'll have my
vapors. Aluminum vapors are bad.
Yeah, but even with steel, the way I can't see as well as I used to, so I wear magnifiers all the time. So my face is right down into what I'm working on. I gotta have a mask.
Yeah, I would have the mask on then. But if I'm working,
and a fan
3 feet away from it, that's a whole other story. Yeah, I have my little workshop area is right next to a window, which is nice, and I have the 2-way fan in there most of the time.
Yeah, really, just get some air moving. So you.
Yep.
All right, so let's talk about how we're gonna get the paint on. I guess first you're going to need some type of air compressor, unless you're doing rattle can. So even if you're doing gun coat, whether you're using an airbrush, whether you're using a spray gun, you're going to need a compressor. And compressors, large compressors are not cheap. This one, if you look on the picture on the far left of the pictures, that's a 20-gallon. And I looked up, I went on to OfferUp. That's one place I bought it secondhand on OfferUp.
I love OfferUp, man.
I think I paid $70 for it. $75 for it for a 20-gallon, and 20 gallons even at Harbor Freight are like $150, $200, depending on which one.
I burned up 2 of those over the lifetime. What I got now is a stand-up model. I forget how big it is, but anyway, it run me around $300 on sale. But I got tired of burning those things up. See, the difference in your air compressors is that style of air compressor there works on a shaft that twists. So it doesn't have a piston that goes up and down. And what'll happen is if you run it constant for too long, it'll get hot and kick itself off. And it'll only do that so many times before it locks itself up.
Go ahead.
Where you get one of these stand-up models that actually it looks like an old gas lawnmower motor on them. They actually have a piston in there that works up and down, and that pumps your air. And they're more made for more constant use.
Well, this one here, it shuts off once it reaches the level of pressure I want. I have it set at
that's the regulator.
They have it set at 120, and then it shuts off. And then once it drops down to like 70, it kicks back on to pump it all the way back up.
That's the regulator part. Let's say you take your air compressor and let's say you're painting a car. All right, that's a big paint job. You're gonna be spraying, and you need to maintain a certain PSI for that sprayer to work. Well, these smaller ones that have the smaller tanks, they can't hold a pressure high for a constant time. So what happens is they actually cycle. They're actually running all the time. And that screw type pump on those can't take the heat that it builds up for constant running. But they're good if you're running a small spray brush, like an airbrush, or because that's what I've used most. I burn them up when I start blowing the dust and stuff out of my shop. That's where I burn them up. Or you're taking a flat tire and you're trying to pump it all the way up and you're doing more than one. They just build up heat and they kick themselves off. But it all boils down to planning ahead for what you're using. You know, an airbrush, those things are super, and they're actually.
Yeah, I actually still have one of my small 2-gallon air compressors I used to use when I was doing airbrushing t-shirts and stuff, and I use that with my airbrush sometimes. But you also definitely, guys, if you look on the right hand side of there, you definitely want something that's going to evaporate the water. It's because all of those air compressors, they're going to have fluid that'll build up and it'll come through your airline. And the last thing you want is to be working on something, be almost finished, and all of a sudden you hear, and it's nothing but oil or fluid that comes out and gets all over your project. You might as well start over.
Yeah, and that's why if you look at the tanks on the air compressors, there's a little release valve on the bottom. Every so often you need to just open that and drain it, because that water will build up in the bottom of your tank and start rusting it from the inside out. So that's why that valve's there, so you can just open it up every once in a while. And
I probably need to do that. I haven't done that in a while because, as you can see, my air compressor is kind of tucked in a corner underneath the oven. But yeah, I probably need to go ahead and do that. So, but yeah, it is what it is. I was trying to get to the next thing. Oh, that's what I use. I use the aluminum oxide in mine. We talked about that last week.
That's good stuff.
It's pretty good. It strips off everything pretty fast, and it doesn't put any blemishes or big dents. You definitely don't want to be using any type of beads or anything, glass beads or something like that, especially on polymer. It'll destroy it. So, but we got a question.
Aluminum oxide is made for wet sanding too. So if you like wet sanding a finish on it, that's the kind of sandpaper you need, because that's what it's made for.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Mr. Wine, Mr. Mayan, he has to leave. Talk to you later, my man. Have a good night. We'll see you next time. But what was I about to say? I was about to say something. Oh, question. Thanks, Weapon X. Anyone use Cerakote Micro Slick dry film? Been thinking of using on LPK parts. I have not. I know people that have, and they love them. They swear by them. I have not tried them at all. I know what you're talking about, but I have not tried them.
I've only product I've used besides Cerakote is Cerakote wipes, but I've never tried the Micro Slick dry film before.
Yeah.
I've used the wipes and they're fucking awesome, especially for polymer, by the way.
Cool. So yeah, we talked about sanding, we talked about sandblasting, and we're talking about the air compressors, but let's talk about the different paint itself. Hawkeye, you still got the picture of your paint in your slide deck?
No.
Okay, you took
I
it out.
thought we were going on to booths and ovens.
Yeah, we're going to get there in a second, but I definitely wanted to make sure everybody, because last week it was hard for me to get these on camera, but the paint, the 4-ounce and the catalyst, that's the thing. If you're not going to do a lot of projects, Cerakote probably not for you. It's expensive and it's a lot of steps.
I would say that Cerakote is probably better than gun coat for professional type stuff, because you're doing large quantities of guns at a time. You may have 2 or 3 you're painting at one time. And really the people that do that for a living, they actually know what they're doing, and they can mix it and get the right.
Well, I'm working on it, man.
I know it's all part of it. You know,
Hell
It's
yeah,
all
dude.
part of it. Yeah, eventually I'll have that $2,000 to go out there and go to school. Actually, they have because of the pandemic, you used to have to go all the way to Oregon to go to their school, but since the pandemic, they've authorized people around the country to now do the instruction. So I think the closest instruction
that
to
just
where I
shows
am
you
is Georgia.
that just shows you that most of your people that are actually painting guns are using Cerakote.
Yeah.
I really don't know anybody that uses gun coat but me. You know,
Yeah.
the reason I do it is because I'm a hobbyist and I'm not a painter, and I
Right.
wanted something easy, and that was
Right.
easier than Cerakote to use.
So yeah, as you see, that's my little scale. I bought $12 on Amazon, and that keeps me from having to mix because I'm not mixing a large amount, because I'm usually working on one at a time. I'm not working on 10 different things at a time with the same color and gotta spray them all. So I'm mixing small quantities, usually about 15 to 20 grams at a time. One, because I only have one spray gun, but if I'm going to use the airbrush at the same time, it has a different, has a smaller volume, but it has a short shelf life. It only has like an hour shelf life once you mix it with the catalyst. So you got to be ready to spray it when you mix it. So, but anyway, that does that. So Hawkeye, let's talk about let's talk about what you have. You said you had some the spray booths and stuff, and I have some of that stuff on mine too. But let's talk about some of the things you have on your list.
Okay, paint booth, cure ovens, and the mask. You got to have the mask. Now, I just grabbed some old pieces of wood and made me a little platform in my little work area there.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to have a filter in your paint booth to pull the fumes in your paint away from you. And that's all I did. I took an old cigar box and stuck a little shop vac to it. And the filter I have is a grease filter for an over the oven canopy thing. Now I have tried like air filters and stuff like that, and they're too thick. Once they get paint on them, they clog up and you lose your filter. This has enough that it filters some of the paint, but actually pulls it through and into your little shop vac. It works great for me. The only drawback to my setup here is every time I paint and then I go to my next project, I'll go in there and take a stiff brush and I'll brush all the sides, and I'll go in there and I'll vacuum all that up, because what it does is it puts like paint dust stuck to everything. Well, when you go to paint another project, you're actually spraying air, and it'll stir that dust up and you'll get dust on your pistol. So you always want to clean the inside of your paint booth before you go to your next project.
Well, now with my paint booth, as you see, I have the air filter, as you say, and of course I've only done a few projects so far. I haven't had a problem. As you see on the right hand side of that, that's my exhaust fan, and it exhausts from. I have a box. I don't have all of the pictures, but it's
you
the
got
back
a nice
of my
setup.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Took a lot to build it. Took a lot of figuring out all of the angles and everything to build it, because it's built in 3 pieces. You have the bottom piece, which and it's built so I can take it apart easily if I need to. But you have the bottom piece, which is the first piece I built. That's what houses the exhaust fan, and then the top piece where you see all the lights. That's all the surrounding in it, and the only thing it's just got if you ever been to the dollar store and you see the board, the science fair type boards made out of foam, that's all. It's the sides and the top, and then the back is the third piece, and that's the box itself. That's the exhaust box,
the diorama boards or diorama boards, whatever.
Yeah,
that's really a nice setup. I think I got less than $5 in mine. But
Hey, you I didn't have anything to start with, so I had to buy everything. So I figured if I'm gonna buy it, I might as well go for it, you know.
I save everything. So when I get ready to get an idea in my head, I'll look around and see what I got laying around, and I'll see what I can make work.
Dude, same.
But
here, man.
we had a question.
It's a lost art, sadly.
The exhaust fan is I'll pull it up on my I got it off of Amazon. I'll pull it up in a second, Mr. Vino. But we had a question from Blade Boy. What are wipes? I'm thinking he's talking about the Cerakote wipes.
Yep. So Cerakote makes Cerakote wipes. They're technically meant for doing the upholstery in a vehicle. So specifically the polymer or the plastic armrests, your dashboard, your headrest area, your middle console. It also works for pleather as well. So all of your interior leather work, which is, plastic most times. It gives them a really nice shine. It brings back the shine on it. So you can get Cerakote wipes, and you can actually use those on your metal parts even. It does add a thin layer, but it does wear down fairly fast. But for your polymer, it gives it a nice shine and a protective layer. I use them specifically after doing sanding work on a frame, or I use it on my rail area tabs and my channel. Make it look sparkly.
Cool.
Coming to 10-pack.
What else you got
Walmart.
going on? Then
I was going to talk about lighting.
Okay. Yeah.
Now, what I did was I had these little battery switch lights that I put in there. I thought they'd give me enough light, and they do work once until they get paint on them, and then they don't work no more. So what I use now is I just have a clip-on thing that actually shines my light in my box. But you got to have some light to see what you're doing.
Yeah, that's why I bought strip lights, and I have some of them. I bought two different type of strip lights. I bought strip lights for the matter of fact, let me these are the strip lights that I bought for my paint booth. Nope, that's not what I want to do.
Yeah, when I did my my carving booth back when I did my axe handle, I found some micro USB rechargeable LED lights. Yep, basically like those, just a little strip light or rod.
Yeah,
they work really nice, man.
Yeah,
just don't get paint on them.
Yeah, the ones I had were like the frosted white kind too. They would, I'm sure, it wouldn't take.
Now, what I did was I put a clear piece of what do you call it, masking tape over, so if it does get paint on it, I can switch out the masking tape or the packing tape, I should say. And these all connect to each other, and it is dimmable. So this is, and I got it on the. If you looked at the paint booth, I can't zoom in on it, but on the sides and on the top,
see pretty well.
Yeah,
I have those, and they're all linked together. And then the plug comes out the side and gets plugged in, and it's touch. And that's
being on the outer edge, shining in, that'll work out fine.
Yep. So, and like and the same with the ones that are in the blast cabinet. I covered those up with tape as well, because that stuff sprays around, and even with the vacuum system that's on there, it still sprays around pretty good. So, but to answer Mr. Vino's question, I was pulling up. Here it is. Mr. Vino, this is the exhaust fan that I bought. It's a 6-inch, 318 cubic. I forget what does CFM stand for, Hawkeye? CFM. It's cubic something.
Circulation.
But anyway,
CFM. Circulation, vent,
flow movement.
Mode, I don't know. Mount.
It's a lot.
It's a rating for how much air it can push through the opening.
Yep. And it's 250 2,500 RPM, and it was the smaller of the two that I was looking at.
I didn't know we were having tests to study.
But yeah, so
cubic feet per minute.
Cubic feet per minute. There you go.
It's moving the air through the holes.
Yeah, so I went with the 6-inch versus the 8-inch because the 8-inch just took up too much space. I mean, as you can see, it's tucked in there pretty good already. If I had to put an 8-inch, it would have been, but I also made it because it's on wheels. It's on wheels, guys. I can disconnect that because I have it running. If you look on the right side of the thing, I have it running with the exhaust for the dryer. So it's all going out the side of the house, but I also have my washer, dryer hookups back there and everything. So I needed to be able to move this thing. It needed to be able to be mobile, but also big enough to do what I needed to do. So it's on wheels. I can disconnect the hoses and move it out from the wall if I need to and move it back. Really, really simple. So
that's awesome.
Just don't put paint in the dryer.
Convenient.
Yeah, don't put. Hey, you know what? Speaking of paint in the dryer, I didn't get paint in the dryer, but after I painted this last time, I forgot to close because I have these vent. What do you call it? Doggone it! What do you call them? Blast gates.
Yeah.
I'll show that too because that's right here on the same screen. I have these blast gates that when I'm doing my painting, I can close the blast gate for the dryer, so none of the fumes go into the dryer. And I open the one for the exhaust, and here it is. But the problem is if you forget to switch them back. In the dryer, when I wanted to use the dryer, none of the air can escape the dryer, so it doesn't dry the clothes because it just pushed the air back. And my wife and I were wondering, why isn't the dryer working? Why is our clothes still wet?
You just fucking steaming your fucking clothes in the dryer. You ain't even drying them motherfuckers. You're just steaming them in there like some lobsters and shit.
Look, we was about this. We was like, man, another $1,000 for a dryer. We just don't have that right now. And then all of a sudden, I realized. Oh, snap.
Oops.
So once I open those blast gates back up, work just fine.
When you block that wire vent that and you run it for a long time, there's a thermocoupling in there that'll burn out in your dryer and you'll have to have that replaced.
Well, I'm glad I realized it before that happened because we was about to throw out a perfectly good dryer.
Really?
But anyway, guys, we are almost to 11 o'clock. What else you got, Hawkeye?
Let's real quick. That's my work area. That's my little scale, and I keep my little bottles and little squeegee stuff. When you start doing this, you'll figure out that you'll need some of this stuff. But and your hemostats and the way to hook. We already talked about that. But you need an oven. This is the cheapest way to go. It is really. You can buy an element and build your own. You can do all that, but you can buy an electric smoker oven with a thermostat, and you can control the heat in it. And you can just now Ram, he lined his and everything. All I did was take the racks out and make hooks, and mine holds 200 degrees steady for as long as I want.
And I was going to ask you that, because the problem, and it looks like we probably have, I'm not sure who makes yours. I'm trying to see in your picture.
It's Smoky Mountain or something.
Smoky Mountain. Okay. Yeah, mine is made by Masterbuilt, and the what you call it, Great Maker, he helped me build mine. He built his out, and I love the way he built his, and he lined it and everything, and he sent me all of his extra stuff. I mean, he had so much stuff that I still have stuff left over that he sent me from him building his out. So I definitely if anybody want to do that and line it with the insulate, because that foil, it's all, there's insulation under the foil, so definitely holds its temperature, and you can't see it, but on the wall there's a temperature gauge. If you look on the right side of the oven with the closed door, there's looks like a silver wire. There's a external thermostat, because the one on the door, it really didn't work that well. So we put the electronic one on there, and it holds 300. I had it on all day one time, and it was just sitting at 300 degrees all day long.
Yeah.
So it definitely.
I have no problem at 200, but
Mm-hmm.
on my smoker that I actually smoke butts in and sausage and stuff, it's a gas one, and it wants to vary. What I did was I got this thermo seal tape that goes around the door, and that really helps holds the heat in.
Okay.
I can keep it at 400 for a long period of time, and which is a lot more than you really need. But if you're curing and you're not using additives and stuff, and you're wanting to get up to 350, I would use that seal around the top, and like Ram has, I'd insulate the inside.
Cool. Let's see. We got a couple more questions here. Let's see. Mr. Vino said that's what he's trying to accomplish. Needs something that he can break down and store it out of the way. Yeah. I'm putting the plans for this particular for my paint booth. I'm putting them together because I've had a couple people ask for the dimensions and everything. So as soon as I have everything down where, because my notes are all over the place. I understand them, but you guys wouldn't understand them. So I'm going to get them typed up and put them in, and I'll put them, I'll share them here live, and I'll also put them in the forum. And again, guys, if you're not in the forum, at the top of the page, you can see builderstribe.org. Or you can see at the bottom, builderstribe.org. Join us over there. We'll definitely be sharing that information.
Yeah.
So
here's an idea.
Monty, hold on one second. Monty had a question. Anyone got a Glock performance trigger yet? No, I have not. I have not one. Let us know. You have one coming tomorrow. Let us know how that goes. I haven't got anyone yet. Yeah, really. But go ahead, Hawkeye.
If you're, not using your paint booth a lot and all that stuff, get you a cardboard box and put a shop vac on the back of it. And when you get through, throw the thing away till you need it again and get another cardboard box. That's how easy the paint booth can be. Now the size of my oven is smaller than Ram's, and I just have it tucked out of the way in the shop. It doesn't take up much room.
As you see, I got mine in the corner.
Yeah.
I built two of those platforms. One has the paint booth on it. If you see, it looks the same. If you look at the bottom of the paint booth, the same platform.
Yours is about a foot bigger or a foot taller than what I have.
Yep. It took me a minute to get that right, because I had to put the transformer and everything on there just so I make sure it holds temperature. Because I tried it without all of that, and it just was not holding temperature. And like I said, Great Maker helped me put it together. So, but there was one other thing I wanted to talk about really, really quick, and that's the fine tuning stuff. If anybody has ever tried to paint or color fill the the frame, and matter of fact, let me show Hawkeyes.
Those little brushes are awesome.
Yeah, these things are a godsend. They're very, very, very small.
I haven't been able to find them in store in a while, and I know I was finding them at Michael's and Hobby Lobby in the testers paint area. And
I didn't even know about them until I bought the color fill pen, and those came with the color fill pen. So I think I got like 200 of them.
So good, man.
Yeah, I used them.
I should have had you send me a few.
Why didn't you tell me you needed some, man? I could have sent you some.
Those would work great for gun bluing certain little small etched areas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'll have to look into those. I've never used anything like that.
Yeah, they're awesome.
And let's see.
Just little,
I actually
it's like I'm trying to think of what I could sum it up to be similar to. A bottle brush, the long stick bottle brush. Very similar to that, except for it's more of a cotton fiber at the end instead of a plastic brush or a metal brush.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I'm trying to pull it up here so I can let's see, where is the link? Where's the link?
We're a minute over.
Yeah, we're gonna be finishing up here in a second. I just wanted to since you guys were interested in that.
Oh yeah.
Let's see, switch accounts. I gotta switch accounts. I bought it in the other account. And yes. Guys, if you were here last week and you stayed to the end and you won a prize, let me know. I've only had one person take me up on it. That's Mr. Vino. Mr. Vino got his $10 gift certificate to Michael's. And I was at Michael's the other day, and they have, I must have used my daughter's account to get that. Anyway, I'll post the link up in the forum for the pen and the Q-tip-y things there, but I can't find it in my Amazon, so I must have bought it on.
Do you ever get that? You ever get that pen working the way you wanted it to work?
I'm still working on it. I might buy one because I bought this one from Amazon. I might go ahead and buy the one from Cerakote to see if it works any better. Because
and it's just supposed to work with gravity, basically, right?
Yeah, it's gravity. If you fill it up too much, it drips all out real fast. You can't put a whole lot in there because it will drip out faster than you want it to. But it does work really good.
I could get into using one of those. It looks pretty neat.
Yeah, I used it on the logo on the slide that Mr. Man has right now. And it came out pretty good. I liked it. I was being very, very gentle with it because of everything else around it. But other than that, it was pretty good. So anyway, like I said, I'll post that link up in the forum, and we'll figure out why the forum is.
Graham, you mean I shouldn't be holding your slide with a monkey wrench when I'm working on it?
Probably not a good idea if you want to live.
A pair of metal vice grips.
Probably not a good idea. But anyway, next week, guys, we are going to we're going to be talking about, what are we talking about next week? Oh, top 5 mistakes, safety edition. And Mr. Nas Veritas will be here himself, and we'll be talking about the top 5 safety mistakes made when building firearms. Guys, that's going to be very interesting. It's our next episode of Safety Second on May 2nd. That's going to be an interesting night. So definitely don't miss it, guys. Be here. Until then, guys, you got anything else you want to offer since we are at the, what are we at, 11:03? Nothing?
Got nothing.
Silence. They got nothing. All right, guys. Well, we are going to bid you farewell. We definitely appreciate you being here. We definitely for joining us. Thanks for taking part in the conversation. We hope that we've answered some questions for you. We do have 2 more parts coming. Paint Prep 103 and 104. It'll come in the next few months. Won't be next week, but once we get everything together, we will be talking about other things, different techniques and different how-tos when it comes to painting and how to use the airbrushes and all of that. So, guys, we'll talk to you later. We love you.